The Ministry of Education and Sports annually conducts Headcount and school census as a means of getting accurate information for planning. The 2012 count and annual school census ended successfully, with most private institutions participating compared to the past years when it was only the government-aided schools show.
The overall purpose of the annual school census exercise is to generate basic data required for planning purposes, and this even includes budgeting, policy analysis, and development and decision making. So we need the current data to carry out effective planning and budgeting, and we do this on an annual basis.
According to private schools and institutions owners intimated to the media, teams say that their participation was a sign to challenge government in a bid to support their institutions, since they serve the same children that belong to Ugandan parents.
We have kept to the policy. We fill these forms every year. So far I have realized one advantage ever since I filled them. When I was applying for the examination center number, they followed. My EMIS number was got from my forms, and I was happy because the papers were already there. But apart from that, as much as the exercise is for the planning purposes, the private sector is a bit left out. We don't get any textbooks provided for the private sector. Latrines are not dug for us. There are buildings that are being constructed for the government-aided schools. We are all handling a child for the nation. But when these areas are not catered for in our areas, when we are trying our best to keep to the policies of the government or the Ministry of Education and Sports, we feel a bit left out.
It is to ascertain the number of students in terms of per class, under use and WUPLET, so that they can ascertain the right figures for planning. These figures will help the ministry to take on right numbers, which they will ensure that they include in the budgeting process for onward finance support to these schools. Without this exercise, the ministry wouldn't have got updated data for planning.
We are doing well since morning. Most of our students are around, so everything is going on well.
The 2012 National Headcount and Annual School Census are a Ministry of Education and Sports mandate aimed at updating data and ascertaining timely and accurate information about the education sector for planning purposes.
The private schools not be willing to undertake to participate in such a very important exercise. It is true that we have a record here in the ministry that some schools, not only actually private schools, even some government schools according to the information we have, are not willing to participate in this. And that is the reason, I think, where we also have interest in. But just in case schools like those private schools who have openly showed that they are not willing to participate, do not participate. And you have said that the PS one time said that it's going to punish such schools. And you have asked that what type of punishment do you think you will give to such schools? You know that the Ministry of Education and Sports is the one which is responsible for licensing all education institutions in Uganda. So one such a punishment that can be given to such a school who chooses to abscond from this very important exercise is withdrawal of the license.
Some of the milestones during the exercises were the collection tool that ensure that heads of institutions and schools provided information and infrastructure needs, manpower gaps and status of HIV of both the teachers and pupils, among other things.
The children have their fellowships, they talk openly. From the fellowship, they tell the concerned person on that issue, and they say that for me, I am HIV positive, because we told them that if you are HIV positive and you keep quiet, that means you are murdering others. So they disclose.
We need to encourage the children in this category and encourage their parents and guardians to take them for testing. Then when we capture the numbers and the data, the ministry will now have a basis for planning for them. NGOs, other organizations will also be interested in coming and assisting these category of children. So So kindly, if you don't have the data with you, we encourage you to go back and carry out this message.
All pre-primary, primary, secondary, non-formal, primary teachers' colleges, business technical vocational education and training BITVET, institutions both government and private participated.
And the classrooms, because now P6 has 160, but they sit in that one hall.
160 children.
Yeah.
The school was recognized as a school. There we managed to secure a license because the government was monitoring us. Eventually we gained even the registration. Now we are fully gazetted school. Some schools where the teachers don't want to participate because they think that when they come, they'll be maybe inspected and then found out that they don't have some standards and be closed or any other.
So we need more teachers. And accommodation of our teachers is also not enough. We only have one residential house with 4 rooms, which is shared by the 6 teachers who are present. So there's even lack of privacy. You find one teacher entering this one, a female teacher, and another one is entering the other room. So our accommodation is really very poor. The classrooms we're having are only 5. They're only 4, sorry. Yet we have 6. We have 4 classrooms. Yet we have 5 classes. So we found that one of the classrooms has to be shared by 2 classes. So majorly the problems we're having.
The buildings are not enough, given the number of pupils. The ones which are available, you can see they are worn out. They need renovation. Then another problem, if we need at least, our school is large enough, but we have no fence and the facilities are not enough. Yeah, so we have the problem of trespasser by. And even this end here, we have this workshop, so that those machines keep on disturbing the pupils when they are learning.
How many teachers do you have?
We have 38 teachers.
Are they enough?
For headcount exercise, the involvement of security personnel is grounded in the government's effort to wipe out ghost workers, schools and institutions, pupils and students who benefit from its Universal Primary Education UPE and Universal Secondary Education USE funding. Additionally, the exercise was marked by organized teams from both the Ministry of Education and Sports, security officers and local governments that saw the exercise well coordinated and its objectives met.
We intend to use these sensors to improve the quality of education in those areas which I've already highlighted, the accessibility and the relevance, because those are the pillars according to the Education Act that we are trying to follow and implement, giant steps in terms of accessibility. But where we are lacking currently is quality and relevance. So these sensors will inform us very, very authoritatively on areas where we are lacking, and we will be able to inform those areas, especially on the budgeting process, so that we can be able to have resources to improve on those areas.
The teams from the ministry and security sectors do actual count of numbers of each individual person's items on spot after thorough mobilization and information dissemination about the exercise to all heads of schools and institutions in the country.
For us who are from Ministry of Education, we have also given space here. We shall receive this form and we own it, and it goes to computer. That entry clerk where data processing is, the data entry clerk will also write a name or his name, sign and own it, so that when we are tracing form for a particular school, we know who has entered that form. If there is a mistake in that entry, he has to answer for it. If the mistake is from the head teachers, they will have the answer.
Those have been especially from the private sector. Those who are operating private schools, they are saying they are getting nothing from the government, and that is why some of them have been neglecting responding to this exercise. But due to enhanced sensitization about the importance of this exercise, they have now realized that the students or pupils they have in these institutions are not private per se, and therefore the government needs to know them and plan for them. So they have now responded fully.
The data information to be generated after analysis and data entry into Education Management Information System (EMIS) will a long way go to serve implementers in making informed decisions for policy and improved service delivery within the education sector.
The annual school census that started on the 15th of April 2013 has finally come to an end with a good turn-up of head teachers in all schools, from primary, secondary, vocational teachers institutions participating fully this time. And generally, as we see the exercise, it has been a bit successful. It is generally good. And what is remarkable is that this time, the private sector has participated very well. In the areas that we have visited, head of institutions, head of schools in private institutions have really attended in big numbers to come and provide data on these forms which have been supplied by the ministry in order to help the ministry to make good decisions in planning for this country in the education sector. One of the attributes of the success of this annual school census has been based on the mobilization of the ministry and the participation of the head teachers in the country, and responding to the calls by the ministry, so that whatever information that they provide will be very useful in the planning process, which will aim at making good policies and plans for this country to improve the quality of education of this country.